January 22nd meeting of the announcements.
Is the audio on?
Okay.
Audio's on. Did you need to say something?
The audio is just muffled on my end. I can't understand anything.
How about this? I'm turning up the
Yeah.
volume. Is
Yeah,
making a
now-
difference?
Yeah, now
Yeah.
it works.
That's better, okay?
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
Okay, any comments, questions from community audience? All right. Any comments, edits, suggestions, corrections to the minutes from November 20th? I think we're gonna accept those minutes as done. We can update anyone on the action items we had on those. Okay, our agenda today has, 4 items on it. And we're gonna ask for everyone to, consent this agenda. This first one is just an update on, Frank Young extension, progress on the formal presentation of the resort that was started back in November. Follow up on the status of skate park proposal and committee endorsement. We'll do quickly, and talk about that. Then we have a big topic here, committee governance issues. The village has put together a procedure, rules of procedure for commissions, councils, commission, advisory boards and committees, which, I shared with everyone yesterday, especially online. And then it also, ties into the charter discussions we had, in November. And then we have, the wrap up of, reviewing assigned tasks, actions and so forth. So is everyone okay with that agenda? Anything be changed, added? I'll do a quick update on the, comp plan as part of that, though.
Can we do a point of order? Did you do an approval of November 2025 minutes?
We had a consensus that there's no one opposed to it, so yes, it's,
Did everybody?
yeah, everyone agreed to that.
Okay, it's kind of
Yes,
went right through.
yeah, everyone agreed to it. Thank you. All right, Frank Young Trail Extension update. Manager, do you have anything new for us from, over the holiday break on the presentation to the resort or updates?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Today at 2:00, the mayor and I will be doing a presentation to ownership at Angel Fire Resort with a proposal to basically the result of the impact of the Frank Young Trail is we're asking for them to approve a right-of-way for the trail. We've given them 2 options for the right-of-way. One that is what this committee had previously approved and had previously been rejected by the resort. The other one is a much more attractive, in my opinion, trail that actually goes closer to the Cieneguilla, further away from Flamingo Business Park. And it includes some things that the resort has been asking the village to do, which previously we were reluctant to do. But things like there is a effluent pump down there along the trail path between Flamingo and the lagoon. The resort's been asking us to get rid of that pump for years. So as part of this agreement, we will move that pump. We still need it, but we will move it up to where the what do they call it? Headwaters? Headworks. The headworks for the wastewater treatment plant, which is up by Public Works area and solid waste and all that. The other is a dump station. It is the what I call the commercial dump station for sewage at the village. And we will also move that up into the Public Works area. So that's going to be part of the things. The resort's been after the village to do those two things for years. And so we're willing to do those if they'll give us the right of way for Frank Young Trail. So that presentation is at 2:00. There's some other things we're including that, including asking them to, in this deal, give ownership of the lagoon to the village. With our intent, with the direction of this committee, would be to develop that into a skate/bike park, pump track, drop-in bowls, things of that nature. And we are also looking in this same deal to acquire 20 acres out of lot 192. If y'all know where lot 192 is, it's mostly on the opposite side of the Cieneguilla, kind of between the lagoon and the high school. And we're looking to purchase that from the resort for that to be the location for phase 2 of our workforce housing project. So this is a deal that includes that. It will include a new entrance into the Allen Fields from 434. So there'll be entrance and signage of Allen Fields off 434. It will potentially include a renaming of Allen Fields to something like Allen Recreation Complex or Allen Sports Complex. So it's kind of a package deal that we're trying to pull together, provide some benefit to the resort that is not in dollars, because basically the asking price they have for the property we're wanting to acquire. If we spent the money on buying the property, it would put the rest of the project back 2 years just because we'd use up a big chunk of our funds. So we're trying to minimize how much cash we utilize in this transaction so that we can initiate the development of Frank Young Trail and the Allen Recreation Complex, hopefully this spring. Yeah. So that's the update. We'll have more after our meeting at 2. I'm sure we'll do the presentation. I've rehearsed the presentation a couple of times with Councilman Wheaton and the mayor. And hopefully there'll be acceptance, but we anticipate it's going to take them. They don't move fast. So we probably won't know anything for weeks, if not a month.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Look forward to good results for that.
Hopefully.
Okay. Anything else, comments, questions on that? Follow up on status of skate park proposal and committee endorsement. So I know you provided a new update to me, which I still have, and it's been shared, but we have not had any further action on that. So give us a quick status on that.
So I guess I changed a few things. The name of the whole thing to Overground Action Sports Park to better represent that it's to do with bikes and skateboards and scooters and the whole deal kind of thing. Basically the whole thing is negotiable, obviously. There's some ideas in there that I'd very much like to see happen, but the basic idea is for me and my company to offer the construction and management of the project. So,
Okay.
you know, everything after that is up for debate and negotiation with the council and you guys. So, we're very happy to discuss any sort of elements of it.
Okay, and then your company, where you were looking into, resources to potentially help, reach the lagoon berm. for
Yes,
access.
so I mean, I've reached out to Cole Lindsay about access, and he's interested in helping with that. He said it would be estimating, $65,000 that he's willing to help with. And then I haven't dug any further into my list because I'm really good at getting people excited and I do not want to waste the good surprise until we get an answer back on the lagoon specific. Because I don't want to be asking for things for the lagoon whenever it's going to go on the other side of the field.
Which, that brings up. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman and committee, I would say that this overland park proposal, there are aspects of it that I specifically included in the presentation to the resort.
Okay.
So just so you know that.
Okay.
Yes, so one of the options too is, can we get a plan B for a different location just for interim? Cause this is gonna be, movable?
Some elements would be, but the main part's not really.
Right.
So then could we do but I just meant the ramps and so.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's, I mean, with some ethics.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
It would be a significant task to do it, but yes, if needed.
just if we needed to move forward with a plan B location, just interim.
Mr. Chairman, committee, my recommendation for Plan B is the ledge between the ball fields and the dog park. That area has a little natural drop in there. And the land next to the dog park is not really being used, not even for parking, because until we improve that road, when there is any moisture at all, that becomes kind of a quagmire down there. But to me, that would be a natural place for Plan B, if you were looking for that, just my opinion.
For temporary.
Cause that location is Village, correct?
It is on Village.
Okay, so this kind of brings up a topic that I think our committee should address sooner than later is having a design workshop for Allen Fields and bring back consensus planning like we did for the Mountain View Plaza project. You bring in members of the public, skateboarders, others. Let's look at Allen Fields and come up with a master plan concept and put stuff in place.
Yeah, I definitely think after they have discussions with the resort, it's hinging on that, of course.
Right, of course, right. But if there's positive direction from the resort and we've got to go, I think it would be good for, I think this committee would probably recommend that we invest some resources to a design workshop that we could be part of. Manager Weir?
Mr. Chairman, committee, just one last point. I worked with Ken Romig from Consensus Planning on the graphics that I'm using in this presentation to the resort. So he's been working side by side with me to develop the presentation.
Right. And this will probably take it further. So I think, what I see is we have the basic Allen Fields there, or the Allen Recreational Complex of the two softball, the fields and the soccer field. But if we're looking at the parking and some picnic areas and horseshoe opportunities, whether they're the community center, it kind of makes sense in my mind. Let's just package so we all know what's the long-term direction of this, and we go forward in a more logical approach to Allen Fields. So it'll all be conceptual, but I think that could we could implant the overland park proposal in that and other amenities. It's gonna go there. And then the conversation becomes a lot of chatter about if the event center is built, does that change the focus of the community center and what amenities are up there as opposed to the sports complex? So a lot of conversations, I think, on recreation this coming year.
So again, Mr. Chairman, and committee, this is just my opinion. It's up for y'all to determine and present to the council. But what I would like to see, and I think would be a great use of the current community center, is an athletic center. So my vision is for that area to be converted totally into an athletic center, put weights in there, have places for yoga and other exercise type activities. I will tell you, my big dream is to have an indoor swimming pool at that facility. I mean, that's many years away, but that's what I'd like to see, that facility, because once we have the event center, we're really not gonna need it for community events or anything. There are some clawback clauses on the deed restriction for that land. It was donated by CS Ranch. And it has to have an area in it that's dedicated to the elderly, let's say. That's not the right term, let's say.
The Welderly.
So currently, that one room, when you come in and through the right, that room is supposed to be, is technically to be compliant with the deed restriction dedicated to. We used to have free lunches back when that was first opened. Nobody ever came, so the state removed our funding for that, and we haven't tried to get it again. But that is like a facility for the retired community to come and socialize and have card games and things like that, and have initially free food, was the reason, a condition of the CS Ranch donating that property. So we have to at least maintain that availability. We do have people who come up and play cards quite frequently and regularly. I don't know if pickleball people count in that, that distinction. Their age seems to, but we have to have that type of a facility there. So in order to do the athletic center, my point is we would have to get back to CS Ranch and have them allow us to do that.
Most of the things on the calendar, related for the most part, that is in the calendar. I'm up there 3-4 times a week, so that one small room would be, if it's dedicated to older people playing cards, I don't see that's going to interfere with anything else as far as the gym or the other rooms that we can create for yoga and weights and everything else.
I'm sure there's a way we can figure out a way to work that in. The event center, once we develop it, we do feel like that would be a better venue for those types of events. And so my goal would be to talk to CS. We'll maintain this type of offering. We just want to move it to the event center and turn that property into 100% athletic center.
I've never really seen it used though, as far as.
Yeah, I can see you're looking at in that tundra area. I vision some treadmills up there, and you're looking out those windows.
Oh, yeah.
And beautiful views.
Absolutely.
Picking up the pace when the elk run by. Those are good. I think that's all things we'd like the committee can help with. That let's talk those through and figure what.
Well, like I said, these are just my ideas. And I always tell people I have pretty strong ideas, and that's why I try to stay away from committees, because I don't want to influence too heavily. You guys need to decide what you want to do.
Ideas start the conversations. That's really important to have the long-term conversations.
I agree.
Thank you. All right, so we do have a proposal, and I think, the committee, I think we're okay with the committee. We'll take a look at that proposal, and make a recommendation to advance it to council.
Yes, sir. If I can make a presentation to council, I'd be very happy to, if that's an option. Obviously,
Okay.
let me know and give me a minute to,
I think within the next, I mean, once maybe after we hear back from the resort, the presentation on how the temperature of that meeting went, and the temperature, the response next 2 months, we'll have that
So-
presentation done.
thank you for your consideration, I appreciate it.
Of course, thank you. So Council Weeks, I just followed as we walked away, as you walked out, Olive's proposal, I think, we'll take a look at that and we're ready to endorse that. We'll make a recommendation to have a presentation to council now. Pending the meeting turnout today and the temperature in the room is on that. Okay, so committee governance issues, there's a lot of stuff here. It's also into our long-term goals. The desired outcome of this little session here is to understand how the committee rules and procedure affects us. We need to update our charter. We'll take a look at that. One of the elements of our annual report to council. And then I want to take a look at what our key goals and projects are that we want to tackle as a committee in this year. So the first thing under is leadership and membership changes terms. As we heard from Chris, Lonnie has stepped off of the committee. And we, and our original committee charter, had hoped that we would have staggered terms. So we would not have everyone replaced after 2 years and start over with a blank slate. But the idea was that two people would leave, 2 more would come on, and we try to keep that staggered. So there's some continuity and some institutional memory within the committee. And so we finished we're coming up on finishing our 2nd year. And I know the leadership of the committee has been the same with Matt and I co-chairing and Tim being the secretary for the committee. And we gained 2 folks this past fall, both with recreational interests. One is a village employee and the other is an independent contractor in the village, but has much interest in serving on the committee. So a couple of things have surfaced since that time is the rules and procedures we'll cover in a second, but that throws a wrench into one of the positions, the way the rules are written. So we need to discuss that because James, being a village employee, is technically not allowed to be a member or a voting member.
A voting member. Yeah, he can be labeled as ex officio.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. And I would argue that I think it's good for the village to have village staff on committees if it's a different department, just because they get a sense of what the village is working on, how it works, and they feel more empowered to be part of the community they're working in and living in. So I would encourage, if that's possible, to keep that alive and opportunities there. So the first question for us is thinking about our leadership. Any thoughts on Matt and I continuing to co-chair, or Tim serving as secretary? Does anyone want to step off, take another role? Want to rotate leadership?
I'd be happy to stay on if the committee wants me to, but I'm also open to I'm open to revolution if the committee feels it's necessary.
Did you say evolution or revolution?
Either or.
You know,
Yeah,
one,
sorry, my fever finally broke, but I still didn't want to get everybody sick. So yeah, I caught that nasty flu that was going around. It's I don't wish it upon anybody for sure.
Yes, sir.
one recommendation I would have is to have a chair and a vice chair instead of y'all co-chairing.
Okay.
That way, when you're making motions, then you can make a motion. I mean, you could read, you can make a motion, someone could second it, and have a vote.
Right, and under the new procedures, the chairman doesn't vote unless it's a tie vote. So if we
Yeah.
have co-chairmans, we kind of, how do we do the voting?
Yeah, chair and a vice chair probably be better, don't you think?
So the vice chair doesn't vote, just chair.
No, the chair doesn't vote.
Yeah, I'm just saying, chair doesn't vote unless it's a tie. Correct. But the chair, vice chair would vote.
But yeah, and make motions.
Okay, so
How
the
is-
recommendation, chair and vice chair, Matt's willing to stay on. Tim, are you interested in rotating?
I'd stay on as secretary, but if somebody else wants to do it, I'd be willing to step down too.
You lock that up.
Okay, so, here's where I'm hung up, is, everything this thing says is that we cannot continue as a, informed consensus-based committee. It says we have to go through parliamentary procedure, it's all voting, which disenfranchises committee members, because if you vote against something, then we move on and your issues are never, brought to surface, we never try to adjust your issues, so if this committee had no other option besides following a voting protocol versus consensus-based decision-making, which we agreed to, then I'm gonna step off the committee. But I won't do parliamentary procedure in this committee as I'm on chair.
You know, sitting on this committee as liaison, you know, I find that it's totally opposite. I find that we're not giving committee members a voice to be heard as a vote. So with the way things have been proceeding.
So every agreement we've made has been by consensus. Everything that we push forward to council has been 100% agreement among committee to move forward on something.
I just feel like, you know, we should have everybody share the vote.
I disagree.
Informed consensus is that decision making there. So the idea though is if you, as an example, Counselor, if you were totally opposed to seeing the skate park in the lagoons, we'd want to understand why and work through that to get a decision on we're all on the same page. So if 5 folks say the lagoon's fine and 4 say it's not, then that's not enough of a recommendation to go to council and say, oh yeah, our committee supports the lagoon. When 4 out of 5 didn't like that. So we want to send something forward to council that's 100% from this committee. That's it. Everything we sent to forward has been 100% informed decision making by this committee. So,
Yeah, we haven't had anybody stand aside or,
no, we have not.
no, so it's been 100%. My opinion.
And is this so? Is this changed to how we've been doing it? Is this coming from the village leadership? Just so I understand, because I really liked the way that I like how we drafted our charter and how it's facilitated this, and it's not nearly as I don't know, as rigid as other committees. And it seems like it's facilitated better cooperation than other committees I've served on that just are yay, nay votes. So I'm just trying to understand why the change is necessary if it's working.
One thought maybe just to try to get things more productive, as far as bringing agenda items in and then voting on them and then providing them to council, to the mayor.
How's that more productive than what we've been doing?
Well, I just think that, it gets a more clarity as far as you approve, Oliver's request. And then we bring it to council and then go to the next. And we may have to have work sessions, but we've always had work sessions on items.
Is this a draft or is this in place? This is draft, so
Depends on which version you have. There was one version that came out in December, which I had an opportunity to edit and take back, so some things did get modified in it. Others did not, because I do believe that an advisory board or a commission such as the Land Use Commission, who are making decisions, ought to be following a voting procedure and probably a parliamentary procedure. But for our committee level, which has no decision-making authority, all we can do is forward an idea recommendation to council or through the, hang on a second, finish that. I think, I'll recognize in a second, I think the way we work is we're sending forward the major recommendations. It is appropriate. Manager?
Mr. Chairman, committee, yeah, so I disagree. I think there's no reason why, if this committee wants to work to consensus prior to voting, you can do that. We're not saying you can't do that. We're just saying you need to vote so that we know, because when you're going through the consensus process, there are some people that are better and more willing to speak up and other people that aren't. And so a vote is more definitive, and your vote, if you're separated in your vote, that's a signal to the council. If you just say consensus, we don't really know. There may be people in your committee that don't agree. Now, if you want to work towards getting 100% consensus before you take a vote, that's fine. That's a procedure that we're not defining but we are asking you to take a vote. And if somebody, doesn't have the desire or the ability to speak up in a session, they still have a definitive vote. And by the way, this is a required process. You are an advisory committee. So you're making advice to the council, just like P&Z is an advisory committee. Lodgers Tax is an advisory committee. The difference is on those two committees, in statute, there is rules about who their membership can be and how they can operate. And these rules are the ones that state statute requires them to follow, at least some of them. Some of them are just Robert's Rules of Order, which we've adopted a abbreviated version of Robert's Rules of Order. It has already been adopted by the council in the last council meeting. These new policies, I don't know if you have the latest one or not, but there was a set of policies that were adopted by the council in the last council meeting. And so these are, what we're asking people to do is to follow standard committee processes. And those committee processes were developed over time to make sure that there's a clear understanding of where a committee stands. And I think this is historically the way governments have been operated, at least in New Mexico. And I think that, again, they're there to give somebody a record voice, so that, you know, not making any accusations for this committee, but we've had other committees that, had they been on a consensus basis, they would have had one or two people making all the decisions, and the other people just weren't strong enough personalities to deal with them. And we want to avoid that. We want to give somebody a final voice on recommendations to the council.
Understood. At the same time, everything that we put forward to council, the extra proposal, other things have been 100% consensus from this committee as they've moved forward. That's the only thing we'll put forward is when there's consensus on it. So
I think it just makes it more of a clear vote too, just making things more solid, more clear, more of a procedural.
Do what you're doing now and take a vote.
Right.
And then it goes to the council. It was consensus. Everybody voted for it.
Could we have something in our charter to the effect that, you know, we'll take the vote, but if the vote is not a consensus, we would not forward it as a recommendation to council? You know, unless we had.
Depends on how your motion is made. So if you make a motion to recommend something to council and it's approved, it needs to go to council like that.
And when we're talking about voting, you know, you have to be here to have a vote. You have to be correct. Is that correct?
We have to be present at the meeting. Tim is
Oh, that's
present
present.
at the
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
So you don't have to physically be here. You have to be present at the meeting.
I misunderstood that.
okay, so am I hearing that we can go through our debate conversations? Let's use Oliver's proposal as an example. The Overland Skate Park proposal, we've all reviewed it, we've had comments, we've discussed it. And then this committee, we're all consensus and have a vote on that, and it's 100%, we can forward that. So are we still saying that we have to abide by parliamentary procedure to get that vote? Or can we use our informed consensus?
No, you have to, there has to be if you're gonna make, I mean, there are things that you can say, all in favor, say aye, all opposed. And if you get an opposition, then you may be required to take a roll call vote. If there sounds like, you know, there's enough.
Well, we won't ever get that point because we're gonna work through, everything's to be 100% informed consent. We're all gonna agree to that decision, so.
I don't expect things to change much. I mean,
I
just proceed.
I expect a lot to change. I've seen where we're busy feeding the parliament procedure monster and not having good conversations on topics.
Well,
I did it for 30
Well,
plus
why?
years.
That's up to you. That's, you know,
So-
you can have whatever conversations you want. It's just for a recommendation to go to council. The members of the committee have to do a vote. So go through your procedure, go through your discussion, get consensus before you put it on the agenda to vote. But you take a vote, it's 100% vote, it goes to council, you're good.
So like if you read an agenda item, if you're gonna be the chair, you read it, we can discuss it. And then someone makes a motion, someone seconds and then vote.
And you don't have to vote. You can choose, if an item comes up for a vote, you can call for a motion. If nobody makes a motion, it dies. Or you can postpone it. You can vote to postpone, which means you're gonna bring it up in another meeting. That's when it becomes old business. So there's a lot of options. You can have it on the agenda, or you can have it as a discussion only item. You don't even have to take a vote.
Right.
But before it goes to council, as a recommendation, the committee has to vote. It's not that big of an
I
act.
think we have done that. I mean, we've had discussions, we started e-bike policy. We tabled it because we didn't have all their answers. We didn't do any action on that. We haven't forwarded any recommendations to council on e-bike policy because we're still doing our homework on it. And it'll come back up this year as to complete that topic. So this committee has not forwarded anything that we weren't 100% positive on. So what I'm hung up on is that we are the first committee that developed a charter that had a structure, how we operated, how we made decisions, how we forwarded stuff to council. And it seems like because we took leadership in that, someone did research and pulled this straight from the city of Alamogordo. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we
Which is
actually
fine,
looked
which is
at
fine.
multiple cities.
Which is fine, but it seems like what's happening to all the good work we did to get the committee structure to begin with, because none of the committees had any structure.
Well,
And so we established structure.
you're right, and as a matter of fact, I would give you guys credit for making this something that we needed to look at. I don't know that
So
it
put
was
a
in our.
hornet's nest is what you're saying.
But it is, we looked at it, and the rules that you have before you are the rules that the council wants to deploy.
Just to be clear, our charter never says, it says modified consensus. It always did recognize that you might have someone standing.
Yes, which we agreed to as well, that someone makes.
Station, so in a way, it was a form of voting,
Say a form of voting, decision making.
yeah.
Because 100% consensus is almost impossible, but so far we've had no one who's objected anything we've talked through.
Right. I wouldn't disagree with
Right.
that comment.
Okay.
That's not what the charter has.
Sure. Okay. Other comments on this topic?
I just noticed that if any member misses 2 consecutive meetings, they should remove, that member gets removed from the committee. Is that what I'm reading? I'm not under 6. I think it's,
Yeah, I read something like that. So you think it's if you, without a note from your doctor, basically. So if there is, reasons for you can't be there, then that's okay.
Which is, especially with the technology we use, I mean, we need that language in there because quite frankly, that is statutory language that was pulled from regs relating to planning and zoning. And we're in that situation, planning and zoning now. We have a commissioner that's missed 3 meetings. Lives here in town.
Hmm.
Hasn't resigned. What do we leave that seat blank?
No, I think that's a good call. Yeah, but that's also, so you participating remotely is perfectly acceptable.
well, true. It's just,
And the vote's fine. In today's world, this is present.
Yes.
And would those rules apply to our liaison members? Also, it seems like we have the most attendance problems, not with voting members, but with the liaison members.
So yeah, it could. Actually, the liaison is a little more at the will of the mayor than the committee members. All the committee members are appointed by the mayor and approved by the council. The liaison, if the liaison's not performing, I would expect the chairman to communicate that to the mayor. And then the mayor would have to make a change in who the liaison is. Technically, the liaison isn't required to be approved by the council because they're not a committee member, they're not a voting member. But we still follow that process just to be consistent.
I don't think we ever want to get rid of our Angel Park Resort, Patrick West, and he's missed, yeah.
And
Plenty of-
Jackson, Jenna,
Yeah, Jackie and Jen are probably
Yeah,
Patrick at least communicates back and forth.
right, does some, yeah,
Yeah, when he's available.
yeah.
His status on things.
So, what this does is, and what we see a lot, and we're trying to prevent is we want committed members to committees. And we see people that are very topical in nature. And so they get on a committee so they can influence a topic, and then they don't work with the committee on anything else. That's not a committee member we really want. We want people who are interested in the community, the big picture, and even things that they don't really care about. They have respect for the rest of the committee members to remain involved in those things they don't care about. That's what we hope to have. And so we do see that and we invite people, but quite frankly, if we have an issue with Patrick attending, and that the committee believes that's a problem, that should be communicated to the mayor, and we're changing the resorts committee member to the comprehensive plan committee because we've had complaints about the representation not attending. So in the next meeting.
I'd like to just put my vote of confidence in Patrick for the record right now. I don't think he should be replaced.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Matt was suggesting that we're recommending that Patrick West stay on this committee as a resort representative. And
Yeah, full vote of confidence.
So I think he was
I know you're talking
included and
about
reappointed. So I'm just using that as an example. I'm just saying that, I'm not telling you you should do that. I'm saying that if this committee has an issue with the attendance and somebody misses 3, with anybody, whether it's resort or whoever, the proper process is for the chairman to speak to the mayor and say, hey, we need to find somebody else. This person's not participating. And with 3 misses, the mayor has the authority under these rules to then replace that person.
But our committee has to vote to recommend the removal.
That's correct.
What it says here, to submit to council,
That's right.
not mayor's council.
Right. So it's not forcing you to
Right,
make it, but if you feel that somebody isn't participating, and at least to these standards, we don't want somebody miss 1 meeting and all of a sudden, oh,
Yeah.
that's my arch enemy, I want to get rid of them. So we have some standard in there, some minimum requirements, but yeah, if you need somebody replaced, this committee should make a recommendation to the mayor. The mayor has to appoint all committee members and they have to be approved by the council.
And I
All
think
voting.
on Patrick's behalf, he told us, hey, winter's coming, I'm making snow, I'm not gonna be here, not like you just didn't show up. But, I mean,
Oh, no, I didn't mean to say that. I love Patrick.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to say that to get on Pat. I was just trying to
I think,
come
I
up
think
with
Matt actually might have
an example.
misunderstood that someone from the comp plan is gonna be replaced.
Well, one recommendation we may have is to have an alternating summer, winter representation from the resort as an option,
I mean, we could do that. It would just take organization with the mayor. We'd have to go to council. He'd have to appoint and the council would have to approve. And then 6 months later, do the same thing. It's not a big deal. So if y'all want to do that, or we could bring in 2 people from the resort onto the committee to make it even easier and just recognize that one of them at a time is representing the resort. I mean, there's some ways to work around that issue. But this isn't saying if you miss 3, you have to go. And state statute doesn't say that. It says if you miss 3, the committee now has a right to appeal for that person to be replaced.
Okay.
For the clarification.
All right, so on the charter, one of our things says, time commitment duration, the charter says committee leadership shall rotate every 2 years. Does that need to be modified to may rotate every 2 years?
So the way state statute reads is that committee members can be are their terms are 2 years or less. That's what the state statute says. A committee member's term is 2 years or less. I will tell you that we hadn't been tracking this previously, so there was going to be a lot of research to go back and figure out and manage everybody's 2-year term. So at this last council meeting, we've reappointed every committee member. So right at this point right now, technically, everybody started a new 2-year term in January. Because now we're gonna start tracking it. And we know people are gonna fall out, people are gonna come in. It's the natural course of things. But we now have a system where we'll be tracking people's terms to make sure we adhere to the 2-year limitation. Now, after 2 years, you can be reappointed. Right? So you can get appointed, it's a 2-year term. You can make your bylaws where they can be less than 2 years. Because state statute says 2 years or less. So you can make your bylaws to be, but you can't be more than 2 years. P and Z had bylaws that made their term 3 years. We're actually changing that in the next council meeting because it can't be 3 years, according to state statute. It can be 2 years or less.
So according to the village, we're in it 1 year right now, because you said January, it started this January or?
Started this January,
Oh, so we're
this January for 2 years.
2 years out.
We reappointed everybody just so we would have a fresh starting point so we could start tracking things.
Okay.
And we figure, there's gonna be turnover. There always is. We're not hoping for turnover, but it's just a reality. And then, at this point, everybody's got 2 more years. And then at that point, that actually is a good point because then the new mayor will come in, or if BJ doesn't get reelected, and the new mayor will have the ability to reappoint who that mayor wants. So technically, the way that it works is that if you were appointed by a previous mayor to a 2-year term and you're in the middle of the new term, the mayor themselves cannot replace you if you're in the middle of a term without a public hearing. But if you're at the end of a 2-year term, the mayor can replace you without a public hearing. So, I don't think that rule's ever been followed in this village. I started working here in 2015. I don't ever remember. Maybe it happened and I just didn't notice. But I think most new mayors came in and reappointed everybody. But now with this 2-year cycle, one of the it does lend itself to that so that the mayor doesn't have a conflict where maybe they have somebody on a committee that, isn't who they want on the committee. And we believe that a mayor is elected by the people in order to fulfill this role, and the mayor should have the ability to have who they want on committees to get things done, because ultimately the mayor is gonna be responsible for it, whether it's successful or whether it's a failure. It's all gonna fall back on the mayor. So we believe that the mayor should have the right. And so now that we've done this, everybody's 2 years. And at the end of this mayor's term, the new mayor, if he doesn't get reelected, will have the ability to appoint new committee members. And we think that's right.
But there's also a possibility a new mayor could come in and not be as interested in a committee.
It's true.
Trails of Rex and dissolve it completely.
And the mayor has a right to do that, according to statute.
I mean, that's what we're concerned about too, is moving
All
forward.
because everybody institutional knowledge that, we lost 4 years last time
Yes.
and no one knew any of the history. No one had records. So that's part of the reason we were hoping for staggered terms to continue. So we would have at least a few people after the mayor if he doesn't get reelected or otherwise. If he does get reelected, we still have people that, oh yeah, I remember we worked on Frank Young and here are the issues we had, here are the concerns we had, here's where we got hung up.
So I will tell you that we saw that as a huge issue as well. And what we've done is the village over, including last year and the next 2 years, is spending about $500,000 to have all of our systems automated and documented electronically. All files have been moved to electronic format. We are actually developing workflow systems for all of the things like hiring people and all these tools. Even the clerk is going through the processes of these committees and the agendas and the minutes and all that. It's all being automated. Should be done, not at the end of next year, but the end of the following year before this mayor leaves office. And so the records, which were basically in terrible shape when we got here, that should never happen again. It's all being automated and all put online.
So our meetings is recorded and all our documents are being captured and the public can access those.
Well, that's correct. That's why a secretary is becoming more and more important in these committees. The secretary has always been an afterthought. But if you want the minutes to read the way you want the minutes to read, you really should be following the same procedure that the council follows, which is the secretary should create the minutes. And then the next meeting, everybody reviews them and approves the minutes. And that's where we want to get to with our committees. We know that's a hard ask of the public because a lot of committees don't have somebody that can do minutes. We're trying to come up with AI technology to help with that. Like we record these meetings and then have them converted. Our experience with those conversions has not been real positive so far. It mixes up who was speaking. Some of the AI technology we tried didn't have the right speaker. It doesn't, some of the words are misinterpreted and, but we're working to have that solution. But for me, a secretary is important as a chairman because the secretary's role should be to make sure the minutes are accurate and recorded for posterity.
Right. And I think our committee, thanks to Tim's work, has captured minutes succinctly well, including identifying the action items required by the next meeting and who's responsible to do that, and including what any recommendations you make or any decisions are called out in your minutes. So we're on top of that, I think, pretty well. So
Yeah, but unfortunately, all committees are,
right.
most committees.
But there ought to be that, I guess the point is maybe there should be a template on what you want to capture and how you want to capture those minutes. So we look at it. Because my thing is, most people never read the minutes, but if you see a chart at the front and it says, Counselor Weeks, who, what, when, okay, he was gonna do this by this date. You had a task there for the committee. It's right on top. If you don't read it, if it's on page 4 and you don't get to page 4, you forget you had a task. So that's why we've done this, who, what, when chart at the beginning of our minutes. Okay, so, on our charter, we need to make some modifications to our charter and maybe we can bring it back next month for a decision approval on our charter that aligns better with, the rules of procedure.
Can I get an update?
Yeah, it was actually emailed out last night. I sent it to everyone last night.
Oh, okay.
The ordinance this one, I believe I emailed last night to the committee to review if you weren't here. So the email that I sent.
got this one.
Oh,
Yeah,
did I just bring you this one?
yeah.
No, you hand me this.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was like.
So this is modified. I did have about 5 pages of comments on this and, edited pretty heavily for the village to consider our committees and the motions. That's the final. I don't know if the village council voted on the final. Did they vote on the final or just the earlier December version or November?
They voted, just last, Tuesday
Okay,
on.
it's based on their modifications.
Yeah, this is the sign.
Okay, okay. All right, so that's modifications. She did, the clerk and village leadership did consider some of my recommendations. And I appreciate that. I applaud the village for taking the steps to do rules and procedure. I think it's really important. And I'll do my best to abide by,
We're not trying to make things harder. We're trying to make things consistent between committees and we want to give you flexibility to get things done, you know, within certain boundaries, but we also have to worry about if we do something, I mean, is there going to be a protest and is that going to be used against us? Not, it's an unfortunate thing that we live in a very litigious world. And you'd be surprised what this village gets sued over. Most ridiculous things. And the reason that people do it is because our insurance company has a history of settling on things that,
You shouldn't have told us that.
well, I can tell you this. For them to settle, we have to agree to it.
Ah, okay.
And this mayor does not believe in settling anything. The very first case that was actually a holdover from the prior administration, we came in and we settled. To get that off the books, it was a case that had been open for about 2.5 years, I think. But everything that's come before us since then, we are opposing and fighting to the extent that if we have to go to a jury trial, we're prepared to do that. Unless we think we're wrong. There are some things, we had some tort claims, we were wrong. So we paid them. We agreed to pay them.
All right, so items A, B, and C of this committee governance, leadership members, we have so our concerns here, we have two, the resort and the school representative liaisons are, we need to have discussions, further discussion on those two, right? At least, okay. Resort and Valley Preparatory School. And then, yes, at resort, that's what I meant, not resort, but AFPO. I'm okay with Patrick Miller.
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, if I may.
Yes, sir.
During the initial conversation about Mr. West, and to step out, I just wanted to mention that we probably want to take into consideration what time of year it is and what he's doing. I saw the snow guns going this morning.
Yeah, he told us way in advance, you know, he's gonna be making snow, he's gonna be on that shift.
Yeah, this time of year is really tough.
He definitely informed us of that.
Yeah, I just want to say that knowing him and what he brings to the table and his skill set and knowledge, it would be a shame to lose that. I just.
We're totally supportive of that, and Councilor Weeks also suggested we may want to explore having a winter summer representative from Trails. And that would alleviate Patrick from that.
Person, I think.
Yeah, it would be the same person.
The problem, I think,
I just wanted the opportunity to speak up for him and James McElroy also. I know, even though he won't be a voting member, this time of day is go time for him and his job duties as well, so.
And he's a very valuable participant already, so we appreciate his commitment and your ability to allow him to serve on the committee. Matt?
oh, I think I was gonna have a comment on the resort representative having a winter and a summer. I don't know if that's that critical, because even though when we meet during the winter, we're typically addressing summertime type stuff. You know, the trail extension and so forth, you know, we don't really address that many, I don't think, winter recreational items. So to kind of have a winter and a summer rep, I think you would kind of end up with some divide there.
Okay.
I think I only brought up Patrick West as an example of someone that misses more than 2 meetings. And we understand the reason for it, but I just was saying that we don't want to lose someone like Patrick just because there's some rule that says, if you miss 3, you're gone. So, but it's been clarified that we don't have to make any move, if someone misses 3 or 4 and they've got good reasons. So.
And he does an outstanding job of communicating with his leadership at the resort, everything going on, so it's a good place. Keep that going.
Okay.
All right, does anyone, okay, the other question is, the chair and vice chair change. I would also agree to stay on as a, committee leadership role, depending on how the committee feels about that. If you want me off, I can step back. Doesn't hurt me. So what you guys say about Matt and I staying on as leadership? And how would you see one of us over the other as, principal chair and vice chair?
I mean, I'd say we would love to have you as the chairman. You did a fantastic job. In representing all of us in the.
Other thoughts?
Yeah, I think you and that, that's for leadership. I just don't know who would be vice or chairman.
That's what we gotta figure out. We need to decide on.
I will
Counselor?
I'll gladly take whichever role. It matters not to me to be main chair, vice chair, so I'm okay with either.
I would say Josh brought up you, brought it to the table as you being chair. Everybody agrees to that. I think we just keep it forward.
What was the third one?
Matt being vice chair.
Third, Tim would be continue the secretary.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so, on the table is, leadership for the 2026 year. Is, and we'll just do this 1 year right now, is, I would be appointed as chairperson of the Recreation Trails Council. Matt would be appointed as the vice chair of the Recreation Trails Council, and Tim would be appointed as secretary of the Recreation Trails Committee.
You can make a motion to that. And everybody.
So we're just
We
gonna.
don't have to do
we're not
that
doing
now,
a
but
motion,
if we
we're just
would, I
saying-
mean, if we were
So is
getting
anyone,
that approved for council.
is anyone opposed to having myself serve as chair, Matt
So
serves?
real fast, hey, before you actually finish that, I guess the question would be, because the chair does not vote, correct, unless in the event of a tie?
Correct.
Okay, well, I guess I'll ask Attila, is it more important for you to have a vote in the event that something doesn't have a tie, or to be the tiebreaker?
Well, we're still, even though that's said in the policy, we're still gonna be doing, attempting to go for 100% consensus on every decision we
Okay.
make. So I don't
Alright.
think that is gonna adversely affect anything, Matt, because I don't believe in seeing anyone disenfranchised in this committee on a decision we're moving forward to council.
Okay,
That's-
gotcha, sorry to interrupt then.
That's how I've run committees for 35 years in projects, and I'm not gonna change for a government mandate.
For I guess the larger question I have is, now that we have this ordinance, do we still need this charter?
Yeah, the ordinance, the rules and regulations say each committee will have a charter.
Or just?
Yeah, I put that in there, because it still doesn't say you still need to know what we're doing, what our goals are, what we're trying to accomplish. So that's actually in the rules that each committee will have a charter.
And you can bring that up after we get through.
Yeah, so on the table is anyone opposed to having myself serve as chair, Matt serve as vice chair, Tim as secretary of the 2026 calendar year for the Recreation Trails Committee?
No, sir.
Okay, then we have consensus on myself as committee chair, Matt Billingsley as vice chair, and Tim as secretary.
Now, do we need, even though we did this consensus to comply with this new regulation, do we still now need to do our official vote? Do a motion, a second, and a vote?
I'm gonna say no.
I don't think so, because it's just restarted in January, so.
Not gonna go to council, it stays with internal. So I think the first thing we're gonna, the first thing that we might send to council is, we might recommend that we, expend funds on an Allen Fields design workshop. That would,
Right.
here's a scope of work, we need a contractor. These are the elements that we would support that the village pursue this. That might be the first vote we have this year on something like that.
Okay, so
Now with how you're thinking too?
Correct.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So does anyone want to take a stab at aligning our charter with rules of procedure? There's a couple of elements in here. We have, the committee leadership shall rotate every 2 years. We could put may rotate.
Or less.
May rotate every 2 years or less, and then appointed members should serve or will serve at least, will serve 2 years. There's a couple of shoulds and things to will, I think, and anyone want to take a stab at that?
Be happy to try.
Okay,
I mean, one of the things I thought was kind of interesting was this number 8, presumption of assent. Really sounds like a modified consensus to me. Member of the committee who is present in a meeting in which action is taken shall be presumed to agree to the action taken unless they vote against such action or abstain.
yeah, that is kind of that informed consent there, of course, that's right. And it's interesting how some of this is written, because the one thing that taught me was for an addition to Robert's rules, shall apply to the conduct of all meetings of the advisory board, commissions, and its committees. And not village committees. So it's like the committees of the advisory, any subcommittees of advisory board and commission. Which in my mind removed us from, the way I read it, removed us as a standing committee from parliamentary procedure.
Yeah, I think, well, at least for me, this is the first time I've seen this. I didn't have a chance to look at it last night, so.
What was your question on 8?
Question.
His response was, or his observation was, it seemed like item 8 in article 2, presumption of assent.
Very similar to our modified consensus.
Yeah.
Decision.
It goes, I guess I'd say it does go back to the fact that villages and municipalities are vulnerable to lawsuits and, to help mitigate someone's, availability to say, hey, I don't see where this guy voted for this officially, so that's next. For an example, then that's just what they're trying to prevent.
So I guess in the minutes that Tim takes, he would write 100% consensus, and I would say that everyone did agree. Right?
Yeah. If there's,
Would that work?
if the minutes say,
It would, it's just,
if the way I'd like to see it written, the way I always did it was, if the committee makes an agreement that we're gonna forward Oliver's presentation ready for council, we're gonna say the committee reached, is gonna say agreement. And we're gonna say what the agreement is in the notes. This is a 100% agreement that we're gonna forward the overland skate park proposal prepared for council presentation.
that should be clearly stated.
Yeah, it's a clear bullet agreement, so we can list those agreements. It can be in the front of the notes too. Here are the agreements reached.
Well, even when you're talking in the meeting.
Yes. Okay, so Chris, you're
Like a
gonna,
pause, like you say it, there's a pause, and then, okay, having none.
okay, sure. I can follow this. So,
I'm just letting.
action item is Chris will take a,
Stab at the
Stab
committee
at,
charter.
and taking the charter and revising the charter to align better with the rules of procedure.
Recently approved ordinance 26-01.
And I was sent out last night, and I will send you the charter in a Word document as well.
Okay.
So I sent,
Is that rest of the sentence?
I sent the PDF last night, I think.
Okay.
Stab at aligning charter with rules of procedure. So send the Word doc. Okay,
This is just a minor comment. Taking Lonnie Natter off, you're kind of in charge of that, group email, is that correct?
yes,
So you have to remove it.
okay. From the email.
Do we have to submit something to council or mayor that he resigned?
That's a question, I don't know, there is an injured of that.
There's something that says resignation,
I think it's just to bring people on.
resignation, any member voluntarily terminates, 5A.
It says, effective upon a receipt of the written notice.
He did get a red notice from Lonnie.
Should be immediate unless there's a red date in there, but there's nothing written. It's verbal. Is verbal okay?
Well, I think written would be in the minutes if you just call it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, call it, and then it's in the minutes, but that,
that suffice.
then it would be written.
That suffice.
Got that, Tim? Put Lonnie.
So I'll reflect in the minutes that Lonnie has resigned.
I think if the chair calls it
Yeah,
officially.
yes. So we accept Lonnie's resignation from the Recreation Trails Committee. Her information that Chris got from him, from a conversation.
My action item was to do that, so.
Yeah.
We actually had a conflict of interest today, so that's part of the reason I hadn't shown up. He has other things going on at the same time this is going.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
From the truckers?
Not the trick.
Okay, so we're not gonna finish items, D and E in 15 minutes, I don't think, because,
Backing up to, the members, committee members. Do we have, or should we put how many members we want on the committee? We have that in there, is it in there? So they can be
No, I
clear.
don't think we ever had that.
We want 7 seats or,
Committee shall not exceed 12 participants.
okay.
it's represented, it's on our charter,
It's on
it's on the charter.
Oh, is it?
But I think the ordinance is different.
The ordinance should align, with more than, it had 5 at one time, and I said that was too low for a committee. A minimum of 3 adult says,
Yeah, that's right, it does say movement, that's right.
so we're okay.
Yeah, right, okay.
Thank you, Counselor. All right. So these two items D and E were to, last year we did an annual report to village leadership on what we accomplished. So I wanted to capture those on a flip chart of what those were and then think about goals and projects. We did a lot of stuff last year, some's in process and progress, others we completed. And then we need to prioritize and what we want to tackle this year. I guess, if we're advisory to the village, I don't feel we've got a lot of direction from Shay on what she'd like for us to work on per se. So I don't know if that comes from you, or is it mutual, are we on the same page?
Yeah, it would be nice to even know what the budget is, you know, to be able to, see what. Because the idea would be is if we got money to spend, we want to really spend it and put it into the community as improvement, so. Yeah, I'll talk to her and see if we can get together, and, because it's January.
Right.
too. Sure.
And you're putting budget package together in March, April. Is that when you do your budget package for the next, July, right?
It is July, yeah,
Right, that's no fiscal year.
Yeah,
But
that's
you're
all right.
starting to put your budget back together now
yeah.
for the next couple of months. All right, so how do we want to tackle these few items on this? Do we just want to work on the annual report to the council, capture a few of those ideas and then save goals and projects at our next meeting? We end on time,
I think,
or just,
approach for the annual report is But we'll just go back through our minutes for last year. Pretty much tell what we did. And just happy to make a shot at that anyway. Just a draft,
Okay,
just looking at our minutes and I captured what highlights this one.
just capture a few bullets up here real quick. Let's do that. That's an action item as Chris will take on annual report. So annual report would be or some of our accomplishments or tasks that we worked on.
E-bikes,
I'm sorry,
e-bikes,
e-bike policy in progress. Policy discussion.
Frank Young Trail.
What about it?
We're still in the process.
And we discussed realignments and other things, right? Alignments,
Lot purchases.
purchase. And as if we had, what else we have in the report?
Skate park.
Hey,
And also, I think that we definitely did accomplish was getting ACTA on board,
back to contract.
like the contract. You're going to the first salsa meeting next week, I guess?
No,
Oh,
they couldn't come up with a consensus for everybody to come to those particular days and times, so we sent, put out another survey for possibly February. So I'd like to know exactly what I need to have them work on. I know we've talked about different things as far as access to the national forest from here, ADA, evaluations, signage, all those things. So I will bring that up and when we do meet.
So that's a topic for next meeting too. The agenda topic would be ECTA. So I know, I saw an email conversation between Shay and Lauren and a contract has not been signed yet. So that's still, Shay was waiting.
Can I go?
No, Shay was waiting for ECTA to send a revised contract with a new start date.
Okay.
I think there's miscommunication between the two parties on who does what first. So that's still in the works. But, that's something we asked for to get done in November,
Right.
January.
Should I get with Lauren myself and?
You might check and see if
Push
you can
that.
push anything along if it's not
Okay.
happening. And if there's something need to be pushed, talk to Counselor Weeks
Right.
directly and let him deal with it. Okay, anything else? I say two new recreational focus members.
that's right.
And then we also did a little work on, the pedestrian crossing issues, right?
Mhm.
And crossing.
Trail, we, trail maps, we started at an analysis of trail map deficiencies and made some recommendations.
Yeah, Farrell's map. Visions. I don't know where that stands. I've asked Patrick follow up on that and also, Greg, and haven't heard where that is.
And do you have the skate park on your list there?
Skate parks on the list. What's on the list is we worked on e-bike poly discussion that's ongoing. Continued discussion on Frank Young Trail realignment, skate park, ECTA contract. That we can added 2 rec focused participants or a committee. We talked about safety for pedestrian crossings on both on the village roads and analysis of the trail map provisions. Key topics for a report. Okay, I'm gonna start a real quick brainstorm list of things we might want to tackle for this year. FY 26, so, what's on our plate for this year? What do you guys want to talk about?
Events, trying to get, well, what events are gonna be coming up for the year for trails, associated with Trails and Rec?
And if we have skate/pump track, several.
So events the tracker's gonna do another National Trails Day thing or not? Examples of what you're thinking about?
Yeah, no, I think, we do wanna do that again. I was successful last year, so. Better jump on it this year.
Okay, events, National Trails Day, trekkers, parentheses on there. Skate Festival,
That's in July. Skate Festival.
I believe so. I don't remember.
high flying thing, does that fit into our committee?
I sure hope so, yeah, yeah. Well, it's the kite event
Okay.
during.
I think with the balloons over Angel Fire, but it's kind of a,
It'd be nice to discuss it.
okay.
You can't fly kites when they're doing balloons, because.
Yeah.
I always want to put them there,
Sure.
no wind.
Well, so what we do is, we also have balsa wood planes. So if it's, the kids are making and putting together balsa wood planes, if the wind's not blowing, those
Okay.
always come in as a.
There are events at the, Allen Fields, like softball tournaments or?
Yeah, that's,
Stuff like
yeah.
that.
Are they done constructing out there? That's done.
Still trying to get the lights, the lights are still going on, so hopefully that's still moving forward. The bathrooms and concessions grant didn't get approved, so that's, in limbo.
We're talking all events, just village. Nothing resort related, right? Just village.
Yeah, things we can kind of roll in, or, conversation about. Yeah, other things we're gonna tackle?
I think we need to finish up the e-bike, policy recommendations.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we also, the pedestrian safety thing we kind of tabled too, right?
Right.
Yep.
Okay, I mentioned earlier this idea of an Allen Fields design workshop,
Yes. Yeah, we definitely need to do that.
because I've been, also on a side note, Alan, I've been talking with, Lenny Baker over here, who, apparently is a world-class horseshoe
Right.
pitching.
Just-
He's got a proposal for 6, a really professional horseshoe pit proposal that I think fits into Allen Fields. He wants to present to our committee as well, which
Brings heads and beds.
it would, and it could be a few, but it's a start, and then we come up here for that. Allen Fields Design Workshop.
That could be a shovel-ready project.
If I understand, they're gonna duplicate what they have now and create 2 more fields.
That's correct.
Circle,
That's correct.
pushing way down towards the dog park now too. So,
Well,
And that's always been in the original,
yeah,
design of that field.
yeah.
but we had ideas that some people want to see some picnic areas for the softball groups to have a pavilion to have
Absolutely.
lunch at. That's all unknown where it fits, how it fits, but there's ideas that keep popping up, but let's get it on paper. Let's say,
Right.
this is because everyone got excited. We started seeing all these things on Liberty or, Mountain View Event Center. That got a lot of excitement. So we did the same thing for Allen Fields. That gives our committee direction on we can support the village on, push for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that, the horseshoes could go there, because everyone thinks the small dog park could be the horseshoe pit. At least Lenny does, not every.
Sell some beer down there.
Okay, what else do we want to talk? We should cover this or anything else?
Right.
Other topics for us, big topics?
I think we need to, push along the, or the trail extension. I mean, that's gonna be an ongoing thing. I think we're gonna be working on the whole year.
hopefully we can be figuring something out once we hear. Depending on how negotiation goes.
Yeah.
Because once, say, an alignment gets approved, then I think, our committee wants input into certain design elements that we want to forward on to the design firm.
Right. And I think we're still advocating that there should be a joint contract between the engineering firm and the design firm, not one or the other.
Right.
So,
I think once this deal gets worked out with the resort, our committee has work to do on that then.
so does this committee feel like we should have a role in any budget discussions or recommendations and or grant application review that affects some of the work we're thinking about?
I agree.
I don't know if we can't influence we can perhaps recommend some influence on budget that we should allocate something for fixing this piece of trail or that piece of trail.
Right.
More I'm thinking too on the grants that are being submitted, for various sources. Do we want to have a review role in those applications in their draft form? Is that appropriate for us or not? I don't know.
I think,
think-
the example is like when we were doing the concessions and bathrooms, Kurt and Shay both brought that to us, with what, and asked us, included us on where the location may be and those kind of things. I think that's already in process. I mean, that's part of the process already, don't you think?
Well, that's overland,
Skate above ground skate park proposal.
run, whatever it's called. That's looking for money from the village, right? Well,
But with our blessings.
is that in a budget somewhere?
That's kind of things that we need to put that in front of council sooner than later. It's a figured budget process. We've got to get that within a month.
But it's still in limbo because of the Frank Young trail acquisition and all that, but yeah.
It would still be good for council to know that there's a request coming that the big request.
Mhm.
So nothing as a standout item that we should have a role in. I think this goes along with the projects, grant.
No, I think I mean, you could put it on there because I think it is part of our role and it's crucial and it's already.
Grant funding review or, grant funding involvement. Is that a good word?
Yeah, I'd like to see us have at least a little say in the process because let's say let's say that Rocky's working on a grant, right? Sometimes it would be nice for him to know what to put in there, or maybe we could help guide him on certain aspects. So I don't think it'd be overstepping if we tried to at least have a say in like, hey, how much money do you guys have? Or if you have this much, could we spend it on this? I don't think so. I think it would fall within the purview of this committee.
What I would suggest is that just we ask Rocky to come in front of the committee and discuss what grants he is trying to apply for and then ask us to look over those grants. That's kind of the way I would say.
I mean, cause that would be great, cause like he applied for a grant for a pump track and then got the quote off of the, like a modular plastic thing, right?
The American Ramp Company, probably, right?
Something like that. So definitely, it'd be good to know. We could do more with dirt and.
Put him on the spot. We don't have time to come on the spot.
No.
We're gonna wrap up on time before he was late. So these also somewhat align with the comp plan. So the comp plan process is still underway. I just saw the draft comp plan chapter for recreation trails. I could share that with you guys. You want to give me any feedback on what's in there, but it does closely align with what we developed last year as far as our goals and strategies to move forward on. So That's, Santos Martinez is picking up process on that. I've been reviewing almost all the chapters because I have to. So that's, but we're in a good place on recreation and trails for the comp plan. It's a little better organization. Anything else for events for next year? So what I'd like to see us do is that every one of us takes on a project and kind of helps lead that discussion, does some homework and does it, so it's not all left on myself or Matt as the chairs to do that. So, for example, Ellie started working on protective safety signage, so let's put that together, package it, put a recommendation, have conversation and move that forward. And have each committee member take on a piece of this for next year, and then I also want to put a timeline on, when are we addressing all these things? Like Allen Fields might be the first thing. But let's work through this next month with leadership on these pieces and a timeline on where they fit into our calendar for the year.
Okay, I can take on pedestrian signs up, me and Elliot were working on that together and I can see more.
Okay.
As far as what's left to do on that.
And just a note on that, you know, the chief went through and, yeah, I think he has a few options as far as postings or temporary signage that they could probably acquire and store, you know, for events and stuff, if those signs are gonna be, not affixed. You know, if they're just, you know, we can put them up in the summer, take them down in the winter, or, you know, whatever, but that can be, those type of signs can be acquired pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So it's a recommendations on signage and crosswalks and the whole thing. So the comp plan, I think it's in the transportation chapter, calls for a pedestrian and bike walkability or ped and walk and bike audit. You look at the whole system on where are the safety issues, where are the choke points. So it's to look at it. So I think it's gonna recommend that our committee, transportation committee, if there is one, and the PD all look at that as a group process. It's more than just, we started something, but it's a bigger, you know.
Like
Okay,
not just 434, we're talking about the whole network.
yeah, the whole
Rails,
yeah,
roads.
right. For example, I think North Angel Fire Road should be one lane with a bike lane in the
And-
street. Do we have a policy? Are bikes allowed on sidewalks in the village? Should they be allowed on the sidewalks if there's more pedestrian access?
Typically, they're not,
They're
but
considered a motorized vehicle, stay on the street, going the same
Right.
direction as a.
And then they see more scooters, electric scooters in town. They shouldn't be on sidewalks. They should
I
be.
thought bicycles should be allowed on sidewalks, cause I mean, I get it if there's a
Well,
lot of people walking on the sidewalk, but most sidewalks I see are just empty and.
But that's
Stick a number on it.
Okay,
Alright.
so we'll leave this, we'll finish up this next month. Fair enough. Is that okay? Everyone agree to finish up this next month?
Yes, sir.
And clean that up a little bit?
Idaho roll two.
I sent a bunch of e-bike stuff out to I think I'd share with the committee all these different sources. Including some communities do have class 1 on the main thoroughfare and class 2 as you go further back, or class 1 and 2, then class 1. Okay, quickly review tasks and actions. I think the big thing was Chris is gonna take a stab at aligning our charter with the rules. So next month on the agenda will be an agreement adoption on our revised charter for the committee. I will send you the Word document on that. And then topics for council updates for council weeks would include for this meeting, it said that we're working on our FY 26 work plan. That the committee has retained its leadership for the 2026 year. And the committee is revising its charter to align with the recently adopted rules of procedure. Anything else that the council needs to know this month from us?
good.
Enough for you to,
Oh, on
Yes.
the action items, Chris is also gonna work on the annual report. And Jeff is gonna talk to Shay about the 2026 budget. As that may apply to our 2026 goals and projects.
Chris, you can forward.
And as far as agenda items also, we talked about, we want to do an ECTA update.
Right.
John's gonna follow up with that contract.
Board.
I know the last I heard, she was sending a check, payment for that.
She's ready to send the check for it, yeah. I think so, but that could have been changed. That's an email I saw last week. And then, so then we also need to probably, next month, agree on the skate park proposal, endorse that, and then make a recommendation that it be presented to council at the next meeting.
Are you on that with Oliver at all?
No. No, anything I do is gonna be strictly volunteer. And all my list of contacts that I'm anxiously waiting to talk to, that's all volunteer work.
I would just probably add that if we're on that topic of a skate park is to include pump track
I think
discussion.
Yeah, I think,
But
yeah, his
even if-
proposal was both.
was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he modified it to make sure he's including both.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
That's
definitely.
why I said overground action sports park.
Right,
okay.
yeah, cause it's, that way we can incorporate skates, scooter, roller, whatever, anything on wheels that you can go fast and yourself on.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
also think you have a kind of a cool drone flying competition somewhere around the house fields.
yeah.
as far as agenda items also, we probably want to keep our standing, what's the latest update on the Franklin extension negotiations with the resort, because that will affect some of the other things we do, such as the skate park endorsement.
I have that as, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, Plan B by the dog park, I'd never heard of that before. We talked about having it close to the north side of
Right.
where the road would come in, so it had visibility. So I'd never.
I think that's where the Allen Field Design Workshop has to play a
Yes,
role.
yes. Definitely.
And when I say Plan B, I'm looking at temporary Plan B, not the concrete and all that, not the permanent part, but
A place that people can skate
yeah,
in the interim.
yeah, in the interim.
Well, where is the event taking place this summer?
Probably at Mountain View again.
Mountain View Center probably again.
Unless we could have Plan B.
Let's get a slide for it.
Could be, yeah.
Okay, next meeting date. Sorry, we're on the break today, but I know a lot on the earlier thing. Month from the same time, more or less,
Tenth.
that February 19th.
Thursday.
Okay. 19th, 30 to 10, still okay with everybody? Seem to have more or less,
19th work for you guys online?
Matt, the 19th, okay?
Yep.
Tim's okay with that? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. I forgot to unmute myself. Yeah, that's fine with me.
And, Chris, can you, with the committee, share drafts of the, annual report and the revised
Yeah.
email before we do it, so we can be prepared to not spend minutes reviewing every line in it? Okay, anything else for the good of the cause today? And we were adjourned. Thank you.
Attila, could you take some snapshots of your posters that you wrote on and send me
Yep.
copies of those?
Will do.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Matt.
I've learned, whenever you get people excited that have tractors, you gotta be careful. Right? But the next thing you know, you